ew, thank God I like ran out of there. Like I knew I wasn't like, from the moment I saw him, I was like, no thank you. Hi guys, it's Maya here, and today I'm doing a story time video on my worst dates ever. So this is going to be quite embarrassing, but I just try to look back on my memories and have a good time and laugh at myself and laugh at the circumstances. So yeah, be prepared for some cringe moments in this video. It gets quite juicy. And if you've ever gone on a date with me, you probably should click away and not watch this video, just in case. So the first date I'm gonna talk about was actually a perfect date gone wrong. So I originally met up with this guy, super tall, cute, super smiley, super into me. We met up at a park, a beautiful park downtown Toronto. It's kind of like the Central Park of Toronto. And we went for a beautiful walk. The weather was amazing. It was in August. And yeah, everything was going perfectly. We had some craft beers and then we went back to the park and we kind of laid on this sloping hill in the grass. Beautiful summer evening, fresh breeze rolling in, beautiful skyline view of Toronto with the CN Tower just in front of us, and beautiful stars. No, just kidding, we don't have any stars in Toronto, but I could feel them watching us. And yeah, everything was going great. We start talking about life and everything. Everything's clicking and lining up, and then we eventually start kissing. And then he pulls away, looks me dead in the eye with such a seductive gaze and says,
"You look just like my mother when she was younger."
And then he pulls back for more. Talk about horror story. Next story I have takes place quite a while ago, as do all of them, and it was with this guy who sounded really great on paper. I went on a date with him once, and this was the second date where everything went wrong. So this guy, he was a cool journalist for he like had a interesting sounding life. He traveled a lot. He had his own condo, his own car. Everything sounded great on paper. I went for a walk with him in a park as well. I don't know what's with me in parks, but it's good to be in a public area, you guys. So we went for a walk for our first date. We chatted a bit. It was kind of awkward. He was kind of stiff and like had no, I don't know, like real personality that was shining through that clicked with mine anyways. And I kind of attributed that to maybe the first date, the nerves, whatever. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because otherwise he seemed like a really cool person. But that's the problem, ladies. Never give anyone the benefit of the doubt. Screen harshly. So for our second date, I decided that I would invite him over to my place while everyone was home, and we would just jam on our guitars because he had been sending me guitar videos. He was trying to learn how to play guitar, and I thought, hey, I know a few songs so I can teach him a little bit, and I don't know, teach him Landslide or something. So he came over, everything was fine. We're like playing guitar a little bit. He's not really like picking it up that fast. He seems kind of distracted, like his mind is somewhere else. Then he tells me that he has to leave within 30 minutes. So he would have only been at my place for an hour by the time he said he had to leave, which was, I thought, very fast of a date to spend together. He said he was meeting up with one of his middle-aged gay, he made sure to say, gay co-workers to go see a movie together. I think it was Moonlight, but I'm not sure. And he made sure to diss Moonlight and say that he couldn't understand that film and the way that they talk and all they do is swear. And I don't know, I feel like he was like low-key being a little bit racist. So that was like a red flag, and I was like, ew, I cannot stand the way he's talking about this. And then he proceeds to put the guitars down and lay down on my bed. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's happening? He kind of stops paying attention to what I'm saying and kind of trails off. And then I ask him like,
what's up? Like, what's going on?
And then he says, well, God gave me two heads with only enough blood to power one.
Ew.
Barf, wreck,
vomit. Disgusting. So he basically wanted me to give him head, and obviously, ew, no thank you. Everything about him was just the wrong vibe. There was just no game on his end. It was absolutely disturbing, so I said farewell to him, thanking the Lord that he was only staying for an hour, so it was like nothing. And then he left, and I never saw him again. Whew, I was free woman. The next date I'm going to talk to you guys about happened also a few years ago. All these dates are far back, and this guy was, I want to say, like half a year to maybe a year younger than me at the time. And I don't normally date younger people, but I decided to give this guy the benefit of the doubt because he seemed like a nice person. And at the time, like, I didn't realize that a year younger for guys is a lot younger in girl years. I feel like you have to always date a little bit older unless they're mature at a young age, because I just feel like things don't line up all the time. But anyways, so I met with this guy. He was gonna take me out for sushi, and I'm like, okay, I like sushi, let's do it. And so the first thing that happens when I get in his car is that he tells me that I don't look like my pictures. And I inquire further. I want to know why, like in a bad way or in a good way, or... And he just will not tell me. He does not disclose, just different than my photos. So I have to sit there with that thought. Then he starts driving to this sushi place that's pretty far away. And to be honest, we have lots of sushi places near our house, so it didn't really make sense to me why we were going so far away. But anyway, so he was driving me to this sushi place, couldn't handle the pressure of talking to me and hosting me in his car while also driving. He was swerving all over the road. I swear to God, I thought I was going to get killed. I was terrified. We arrive at the sushi place. He can't really hold a conversation that well. It's super awkward. And then he starts telling me that he can't believe how bad this date is and that it's probably the worst date I'm going to have ever been on.
Hi, we're here.
No, it wasn't the worst date, but honestly I just felt so bad for him because he couldn't stop talking down about himself and about how the date wasn't going well and stuff. And then he started oversharing and telling me like nitty-gritty details about his mental health and about how he has ADD or something like that, and just all this stuff that you don't really need to hear on the first date. And basically he paid for the bill, which I thought was really nice. I tried to offer to pay because I honestly felt bad. I knew I wasn't going to see this guy ever again, and I was like, let me just leave with a clean conscience and just pay for the bill. But he needed to pay for the bill, and I kind of think that that made him feel better in a way, so it was, I felt like I had to let him. So anyways, he paid for the bill and we left the sushi place. He's like, oh, do you want to go get coffee somewhere and chat and whatever? And I'm like,
No, I'm sorry, I have stuff to do, but it was really nice having sushi with you.
and I think it just like clicked in his brain. He knew right then and there that things were not gonna happen in the future. So he brought me home and I said goodbye, and that was it. Yeah, super awkward. That was probably the most trapped I felt in a date because he had driven me to a sushi place. It's not like I could have just left, and it was too far for me to realistically Uber. So I felt like I had to like sit through how awful it was, especially when someone's mentioning how awful a date is while it's happening. It makes it so much worse. So don't do that. The next date I'm going to talk about isn't so much a date as it is a, I don't know, I want to say like a hookup or something. So I was single for a while, and by the way, the story is like a cautionary tale. Do not do this. Be safe, meet with people in a public environment. This happened a long time ago, so I wasn't as smart as I am now back then. And I feel like when you're in the LGBT community, you take a lot more risks in order to get satisfaction or in order to meet people, because you don't have as big of a pool as everyone else does. So I feel like you end up in sticky situations more often. So please don't hate me for taking on this situation. So anyways, I had been talking to this guy for a while on Grindr, and basically he seemed like obviously older. He seemed like he was in his maybe 40s or whatever. He seemed like wealthy, kind of like sugar daddy kind of vibes. And the photo that he sent me, he looked kind of cute. So I was like, you know what, like,
I'm single, I'm crazy, I'm in the moment. I'm just gonna like meet up with this guy, see what happens.
he lives really close to me, so it's not gonna be a huge deal. So I walk over there, I get to his apartment and I message him and say, hey, I'm here. He comes down and oh my God, he literally, I don't want to be insulting about how he looks, but he put in no effort to see me. He was wearing like really greasy stained sweatpants, one of those like nylon zip long sleeve things, and these like really old ratty running shoes, like so gross. He looked a lot less attractive than the photo, and he also was significantly balding, but like not in like a low-key way, like in a I'm gonna grow the side hairs out way. Just totally creepy. Like immediately as soon as I saw him, I was like, I need to get out of this situation. But I'm like, I'm not a rude person, and I'm not just gonna be like,
oh, never mind, goodbye, run away.
like that's so mean. So I was just like, I'm gonna go up to his apartment, just chat with him for a minute, and then leave. But also, like, I should not have been going to this person's apartment. Anyways, so I ended up going up to his apartment with him. He's super awkward, has no game, and his apartment smells like dirty dishes. It's not cleaned at all. Like, I would be so embarrassed inviting someone over like that. We get to his bedroom because it's kind of like later in the evening, and he has other people he lives with, and he doesn't want to wake them up, obviously. I get to his room. He just has piles of dirty, and this is like a 40-year-old man. He just has piles of like dirty laundry in different areas of his room, and just like the bed was not made, just a sheet on it and a single pillow. I sat on the farthest corner of the bed, and basically he asked me like, oh, like what made you want to like reply back to me on Grindr? And I was like, well, I don't know, I was bored and you seem like a nice person and blah 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 and whatever. And I'm just like talking on, and then I say like, what made you want to message me? And he says,
Well,
and gives me like this really terrifying like sex eye, and I'm like, well, I'm not really feeling it. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go. And he's like, okay, well, I'll walk you downstairs. Like, no worries, don't worry about it. And I literally get up to leave. This is like so awkward. I'm so embarrassed about this story. And as I'm putting on my shoes to leave, I think he's gonna walk me down to the bottom of the building, to the doors and whatever, and we'll say our goodbyes or whatever. And instead, the door closes behind me as I'm in the hallway to leave. I'm like out of the apartment. I'm safe. It's fine. The door closes behind me slowly, clicks, and then all of a sudden the lock clicks in place. He doesn't even want to walk me downstairs. He just locks the door behind me. And I'm just like, ew, thank God I like ran the out of there. Like, I knew I wasn't like, from the moment I saw him, I was like, no thank you. So disturbing. Like, and that was the only time I ever tried something like that. Like, never again. And I was definitely like very cautious about that kind of situation beforehand. So I was right not to engage in that kind of activity. I don't know what to call it, risky behavior. But yeah, it was just... The next date I'm going to tell you guys about wasn't like the worst date ever, but it was super awkward timing. So I met with this guy for, I want to say the second or third date. I couldn't quite remember. He was cool. He was into graphic design. He had his own condo in a really nice building, and he was just very like chill and laid back, and I don't know, I like that about him. So we met up, we hung out in a park, we were just hanging out in public places. We go to this one really empty park, like no one's there, and he pulls out a little pipe with weed, and he's like, oh, have you ever smoked before? Me at the time, like, trying not to be like a friggin' like, I don't know, like little virgin or something. I was like,
No, I've smoked before, of course. I smoke all the time.
Meanwhile, I had never smoked before in my life, and I did not know what I was in for. So I take a few hits of it. I can't stop coughing. I'm trying to stifle it down and be like professional about it. Like,
yes, I smoke for a living.
But no. So it doesn't really hit me when we're in the park. But then we go back to his apartment. I had been there before. Like, he's really chill. It was like, I had known him for probably like a month at this point. I don't know. And we're at his apartment, and we start watching this anime show because we were talking about how like we both secretly like anime, and like I used to watch it when I was like in middle school. So we were watching Attack on Titan because I had never seen it before, and he was recommending it to me. So we start watching it, and then he pulls out a bong, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can keep doing this. So I smoke from the bong, which I had never done before, and obviously you could tell at that point because you need a little bit of skill to smoke from a bong. You need to know how to, you know? So I did that, and then I was gone. I had never been high before, so I was just sitting there watching the show, and he's like sitting like beside me on the bed or whatever, and like we're watching the Attack on Titan. I guess it's supposed to be like a Netflix and chill kind of moment, but let me tell you, it was not like that. So we're like watching Attack on Titan, and I start to get so high and paranoid. I'm like sitting there like this, like, oh my god, like I'm freaking out. Like, why am I in this person's room? Why am I doing this? Am I on a date? Like, what's happening? And then I'm watching the show, and like the screen splits into 2 screens and starts going a little bit wavy and weird. And like, I don't even realize it's happening at first. I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, wow, this is really weird. Like, so strange. And then later, like, I'm like, whoa, I'm hallucinating a second screen. But then all of a sudden I realized there really was 2 screens. He had 2 huge monitors that were playing the same thing. I thought I was tripping out and high, and I had forgot that he had 2 monitors, but he had 2. I was just going crazy. So I couldn't deal with the situation anymore. I was just like, oh my god, too high. So I said to him, I'm really sorry, but I think I like got too stoned. I need to go. And he was like kind of disappointed, I could tell, but I was just like, gotta get out of here, way too stoned. So I call an Uber, and a friggin' Mercedes pulls up to pick me up, and I'm like stoned out of my mind, like, and so I get in the Mercedes and it takes me home, and I'm just like, what is my life? I don't know. So that's it, you guys. That's all for my horrible dates. If you guys have any horrible dates you want to talk about, or anything that you can relate to in this video, let me know down below. Don't be afraid to thumbs up this video. Every like helps. And don't be afraid to share it with your friends. Subscribe, hit that bell notification if you want to know when my next video is posted, because I feel like a lot of you guys are maybe missing out on some of my content, my videos, because of YouTube's algorithms and what they choose to share and not share. Unfortunately, I find a lot of trans content is demonetized, even if I just put transgender in the tags, not even in the title. So super annoying about that. So just hit that bell notification button if you actually want to know when my videos are being posted. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys soon, hopefully with some better story times. And just to give a disclaimer, I do have some good dates as well. I just thought it would be more fun to share the bad ones. See you guys soon. Bye.